Hi, welcome back to our class. In our previous class, we have discussed 2 of the 5 factors theory. So, today, let's continue with the another 3 factors which are terrain, generation of commando, and law and doctrine. Third factor, terrain. In ancient time, terrain played an important role in judgment of death or survival of the troops in the battleground. As Sun Tzu said, terrain refers to the duration of the route, whether it takes longer or shorter, whether the ground is treacherous or safe, wide or narrow, with regard to ease of movement, and whether the ground will determine the death or survival. So, you can see that in ancient time, before the troops depart from their home country to the battleground, the leader or general should already briefly know about the characteristics of terrain, where the troops will then cross. The reason was if you can conquer the most advantageous location or terrain, you could defeat your enemy easily. Contrarily, you might fall into a critical situations. In today's business environment, terrain can be applied in various areas, especially applied as market. Normally, market means a place where buyer and seller meet together in order to carry on some transaction of goods and services. The market is classified on the basis of place, time, and competitions. So, it means that every business had to have a positive competition with each other in the particular place and time for their company to survive and sustain. On the basis of place, the market is classified into 3 categories: local market, national market, and international market. So, for the local market, it's very simple. Clients and customers who will buy a product in the region or area in which it is produced and made available. For marketing purposes, it is important to know who will buy the products, where they are located, and how far they will travel to obtain the product. If your product or services could be accepted by local people and fulfill their needs, wants, and interests, it's sure that your business will be sustainable for being time. Local market is very important. Even the giant company like McDonald's, KFC, Starbucks, Tesco, Coca-Cola, Heinz, and etc. have to implement the Think Globally and Act Locally program. So you can see how important is the local market. Next, national market. National market is the domestic marketplace for goods and services operating within a particular country. The health of its home country's national market terms of supply and demand for the products that a business offers can be a strong determinant of its success. As simplified, national market is expanding from the local market, but even in the same country, the customer base also might have different needs, wants, and interests. For example, people who live in the city, they have more demands or wants, but for those people from rural area, they are not. While international markets is devoted geographically as a market outside the international borders of the company's country of citizenship, or sometimes we call globalization. Globalization implies the opening of local and nationalistic perspectives to the broader outlook of an interconnected and independent world with free transfer for capital, goods, and services across national frontier. IBM, for example, was formed in the United States. Thus, any geographic area outside the territory boundaries of the United States where IBM conduct business is IBM's international market. To find in the market, retailers must first segment and define their target markets and then decide how they will differentiate and position themselves in these markets. Should the business focus on upscale, mid-scale, or downscale customer? Do target customer wants variety, depth of assortments, convenience, or low prices? Too many retailers, even big ones, fail to clearly define their target markets and positions. So, If you want to become a successful retailer, you must well define your target markets and positioning yourself strongly. For example, Trader Joe's positions itself strongly with its cheap government value propositions. Walmart is strongly positioned in low prices and what those always low prices means to its customers. With solid targeting and positioning, a retailer can compete effectively against all, even the largest and strongest competitors. For example, compare little Five Guys burger and giant McDonald's. Five Guys has less than 1,500 stores and $1 billion in sales, while McDonald's has more than 34,000 stores around the world and sales of $85 billion. How does a smaller burger chain compete with the Big Mac? It doesn't, at least not directly. Five Guys succeeds by carefully positioning itself away from McDonald's. Five Guys can't match McDonald's massive economics of scale, incredible volume, purchase powers, ultra-efficient logistics, diverse menu, and low process. But then again, it doesn't even try. By positioning itself away from McDonald's and other large competitors, Five Guys has become one of the fastest growing fast food chains in the United States in 2012. So, talent has to be examined and investigated carefully before set off from the home country. Next, the fourth factor, generalship of a commander. According to Sun Tzu, the generalship of a commander refers to his quality of wisdom, trustworthiness, benevolence, courage, and discipline. All are the basic assessment or minimum requirements for a qualified general. So, now, let us see through the meaning one by one. Quality of wisdom. The general must have own professional leadership skill. He or she also need a high predictions and judgment skill like Steve Jobs, the former Apple CEO. He can predict the future market trends and make changes according to the changing conditions. Simple words, he used different strategy according to different situations. Quality of wisdom also included basic knowledge, experiences, competencies, or skills on particular position. Second, trustworthiness, normally indicated that the leader must exercise discipline in fair manner, especially in his objective management of reward and punishments. He is likely to gain the trust of his teams. Sun Tzu believed that trust is to enforce order for carrying out various battle plans and action effectively. With great loyalty, high standards of training and discipline can be carried out, resulting in a stronger combat force is so important to win a battle and wars. Third, benevolence. Generally, those leaders who are create observable benefits, actions, or results for the common good. The terms of common goods is used in the sense of shared benefit or positive outcomes for all or most members of a community. Benevolent leaders exemplify wholehearted at works that benefit people around them. Therefore, they have an inclination to do good, kind, and charitable acts due to a felt obligations to use their developmental and intentional attributes of love. In reciprocal, the follower will pay 100% loyalty to the leader as well. Fourth, courage. Courage is devoted that the leader must have the courage to bear the responsibility and outcome all the risks positively to move ahead. Sometimes you could see that some of the leaders are not there enough to bear the responsibility after making the decisions. Most of the followers want a leader who can make decisions decisively but inclusively, interpret situations with rational, emotional intelligence, confidence, and humility. Last characteristic, discipline. Discipline is defined as a leader must practice the rules and regulations strictly and must be as fair as possible. Even though you are my best friend or relative, but when in the workplace, it must be fair. If you are right I will praise, but if you are wrong, I will punish. This is what we mean as a fair workplace. If not, gradually the other followers will feel the unfairness and slowly they will lose their loyalty and left the company. All this will happen when a leader who didn't practice a good discipline to show the followers. So these 5 characteristics of Sun Tzu are able to be applied in today's labor market, especially in selection process. Selection is a process of choosing the right individual from a group of applicants to best suited for a particular position and the organization. As Jack Ma, the founder and executive chairman of Alibaba Group, said that in the selection process are to find the right people, not the best people. Properly matching people with job and the organization is the goals of the selection process. If individuals are overqualified, underqualified, or for any reason do not fit either the jobs or the organization's culture, they will be ineffective and properly leave the organizations, voluntarily or otherwise. There are many ways to improve productivity, but none is more powerful than making the right hiring decisions. Share a quote with you from the co-founder of Microsoft, Bill Gates. He said that he likes to choose the lazy persons to do a hard job because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it. Finally, we move to the last factors, doctrine and laws. According to Sun Tzu, doctrine and laws were referring to the organization and control, management system and procedure, and the command and control structure for the deployment of resources. In the organization today, when managers develop or change the organization structure, they are engaging in organization design. The process involves making decisions about how specialized jobs should be, the rules to guide employees' behavior, and at what level decisions are to be made. Although organization design decisions are typically made by top management, it's important for everyone to involve in understand the process. Why? Because each of us work in different type of organization structure and we need to know how and why things get done. Also, in organization with a strong culture, it can substitute for the rules and regulations that formally guide employees. In essence, strong cultures can create predictability, orderliness, and consistencies without the need for written documentations. Therefore, the stronger an organization's culture, the less managers need to be concerned with developing formal rules and regulations. Instead, those guides will be internalized in employees when they accept the organization's culture. If, on the other hand, an organization's culture is weak, if no dominant shared values are present, its effects on employees' behavior is less clear. The effective of deployment your resources may reflect your business positions and organization future directions. It's important to be clear on how you will allocate your resources to make your strategy work. For example, if a particular business unit or department have been given targets, the business plan should allocate sufficient resources to achieve it. These resources may already be available within the business or may be generated by future activities. In practice, this could mean recruiting more office staff, spending more on marketing, or buying more supplies or equipment. You may want to provide funds through current cash flow, generating more profit, or seeking external funding. In general, it is always better to fund future growth through revenue generations. However, you should do some precise budgeting to decide on the right level resourcing for a particular unit or department. It is important that resources are prioritized so that area of a business which is the key to deliver the overall aims and objectives are adequately funded. So, that's all for the 5 factors theory. Remember that everything must start with planning. And please use these 5 factors, which are the moral influence, value, Terrain, Generalship of Commando, and Doctrine and Law. Last but not least, Sun Wu continues brought out another 7 considerations which more like questions to be asked before you make any decisions. The 7 considerations are: first, which ruler has great moral influence? It means that you are going to compare which side's ruler had greater attitude and take care to their citizens or residents as well. Second, which general is more able and has greater ability and skills? It determines that is it you and your enemies has knowledgeable, capable and skillful general in the troops. Third, which side is able to better exploit the weather and terrains? Weather and terrains were the external factors. You couldn't control or change on it. If your troop had generals who can predict and precisely analyze the terrain and weather, you could easily win towards your enemy. Fourth, which side is able to execute and implement law and order more effectively? It means that within the troops, which sides could implement their set rules and regulations fairly. For example, sometimes they might not follow the rules and execute their battle due to the relationship, but in the same time, it might lose the trust among the troops. Fifth, which side is more and stronger troops? It's talk about quantity of armies. More armies, you have higher possibility to win towards your enemy. 6. Which side has better trained officers and men? Just now was talk about quantity, now was quality. So you have to make sure that your troops, officers and men were well trained and skillful than your enemy. Last. 7. Which side is more enlightened in the administrations of reward and punishments? You should ensure that general could execute the reward and punishment fairly in the troop in order to remain their trust and loyalty. According to the Sun Wu, after you ask yourself according to those 7 considerations, then would know how much is your victory chances. That's all for today's class. Next class, we will continue with how to apply 5 factors theory with the SWOT analysis and the first root idea of strategy from Sun Tzu. See you on next class. Thanks.